Hey, what's up, everybody? Brother Keith, Pastor Keith here with a urgent video that I just need to get out. And I just can't hold on to this anymore. This is something that there's an urgency in my spirit to release this. This is regarding former President Trump. Um, I had a dream a few years ago, and the Lord has told me to release the dream now. And I'm going to back up with I'm going to give you a little information on the dream, um, what I believe it means, so it makes a little more sense to you when I explain the dream. So just bear with me briefly before I explain the dream. I'm going to give you a little background. Some of you may have knowledge about MK Ultra programs. If you don't know about an MK Ultra program or mind control or brainwashing programs, these programs, they exist. They exist in different levels of governments. The United States, the UK, Russia, they're very familiar with that. This stuff originated in World War II. The Nazis were doing experiments on people, and then other countries from since then has started getting into it. And in layman's terms, you can hypnotize or brainwash someone to do something. Sometimes people are they're totally clueless of what they're doing. You can create assassins this way as well. So some of these things are seen in movies. Some of these things are people think they're far-fetched, that it doesn't exist. I'm just going to show you a quick thing on the screen share. So you can just see it for yourself, because there's always people who they rather make negative comments rather than do the research concerning these things. I have friends who are ex-naval intelligence, as well as other matters of U.S. military government, who have confirmed that these things do exist. And I've met people from around the world that can confirm these things. But here's the Freedom of Information Act. This is from the CIA.gov website. This is just basically telling you, and I'll try to put a link to some of these things in the comments underneath. I'm just going to read briefly this wording concerning the MK Ultra program. All right, the Project MK Ultra. Let me this Project MK Ultra was the code name for a covert CIA mind control and chemical interrogation and research program run by the Office of Scientific Intelligence. This official U.S. government program began in the early 1950s, continuing at least through the late 1960s, and it supposedly used United States citizens as unwittingly test subjects. All right, I'm gonna just pause right there. So some of these people, they use citizens, some of these did not, they didn't even know what they were doing. And there's more I can read on this, because it further explains that they also use non-citizens, people who weren't from the United States, and some of these people were unwittingly. So people who did not know that they were subject to some of these things. So there's information. I'll just put it right there. This is public information of the CIA's website. There's been whistleblowers to explain that this program did not, even though they said it ended, because when Congress did an investigation of the program in 1975, this program did not end. Okay, there's a lot of whistleblowers that said the program never ended officially. Okay, so I just put that out there. You can do the research on your own about that. You can also just Google MK Ultra. There's other variants of the program, and the UK as well has parts in this. The Russian government, high-ranking intelligence agencies around the world know about these type of programs where you can do mind-altering things to people. All right, so with that said, I'm just speaking fast because I really was just struggling to even get this out, but it's in my spirit to just release it. We're going to discuss, there was previous, everybody's talking about the recent assassination attempt on Donald Trump, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not even convinced that this was the first attempt. I believe this is the first attempt that may have been on a public scale, that it was very open and graphic. But I'm gonna bring to you quickly. There was a story of a man. This happened a few years ago, and what I have to do, because I have to take my time with people, for some people, right here off the justice.gov, this United States justice.gov website, they explain the story. This is government All right. They explain the story. This happened. This story right here that I'm showing you explains of the British man who was arrested at a Trump rally, sentenced on weapons and disruption charges. And they explain the story of a guy named Michael Stanford out of England. He was at the Trump rally in June of 2016. This is before Trump became officially president, but everybody knew that he was on his way. He was serious competition for Hillary Clinton to become the president. And this man, he allegedly left the UK. He had mental problems. They said he was autistic, and he also had some other problems and mental problems. And he came to the rally, and he when he came to the United States before he went to the rally, he was in the United States for a while, and then he took a firearms training class one day. And the next few days after the firearms training class, he decided to go to the Trump rally, and he went to the Trump rally, and he tried to pull a gun off of a Las Vegas police officer, and he almost got the gun off the police officer to fire off a shot at Donald Trump, and he was less than 30 feet away. All right. I've been studying this story for quite some time. I have noticed there was many variations of the story. The story did not stay the same. I went on. I've had articles of the story, and I should have held on some of the articles, but I have a few that I have to dig up. But this was one article off of the Independent out of the UK, and in this article they said he was here visiting a girlfriend, where in other stories there was no mention of him visiting a girlfriend or anything like that. All right. And it just gets very, very interesting how the story started to change a little bit concerning this guy. All right. But yeah, this 20-year-old, they said he has mental disorders, etc. That was a project that was a story from there. Here was a story off the Guardian. This also is out of the UK, and they're saying same things, but this guy had some mental issues, etc. And he was going to come in to shoot and kill Donald Trump. All right. So he was going to be doing a long time in jail, but eventually they got him out, and he did about 11 months in prison here in the United States, and then he's got extradited or released, however you want to put it, back to the UK, and he's over there. Now, I found that very interesting, and of course, the UK, they're very lax on mental illness, as well as the liberal states here in America. All right. So they're saying he wasn't, this guy just had a mental breakdown, a mental psychotic breakdown, etc. That's what the story is. All right. One of the judges, I've read into this, like right off the district website that I have here, the judge even acknowledged that the guy was hearing voices in his head. All right. So we don't know, but something seemed very fishy when I read all the different accounts of the story. Something is very, very fishy about this story, how this guy who had never left the UK managed to leave the UK. I remember one of the stories, and I don't have this one up for the sake of time. They said he stole his mother's credit card to come over to the UK, come from the UK to the United States, and he was hanging out, blah, blah, blah. And boom, he almost knocked off President Trump. So whenever I see all the variations and the slants and the inconsistencies in the stories, I know there's something fishy there. So I believe that there's more to this story than what we are being told. I also found it very, very interesting that with this particular guy, when Trump went over to the UK, there is a special a law, and I'm trying to see if I have it up here. I'm speaking quickly. Yeah, there's something called the Serious Crime Prevention Order. Okay. Now, with the Serious Crime Prevention Order, they basically can look at someone who's been in trouble or has a history of doing something serious, anything of that grounds. And under that, I'm just going to read it right here. You can see it on screen. If satisfied that the person has been involved in serious crime, the court, before making a SCPO, Serious Crime Prevention Order, must have, quote, reasonable grounds to believe that any order would protect the public by preventing the involvement by the person in serious crime. So basically, the SCPO is intended for use against those people involved in the most serious offenses, including drug trafficking, fraud, money laundering, among other things. All right, it's all up right there. I'm just reading everything. That's off the gov.uk. So if you have a history of someone doing something crazy or some kind of crime, and the Serious Crime Prevention Order, They tried to basically bring that in. The government was like, hey, like the police department or some the legal institution was like, hey, we need to make sure he is either locked up or under house arrest or something to that nature when President Trump comes to Britain, because we don't want any other incidents again. And I find it interesting that it was not enforced. It wasn't even enforced when this guy they know who has a psychotic episode and already tried to get a gun to shoot Trump. They didn't even enforce it. Again, I find that very, very interesting. You would think you would want to avoid an international incident or international embarrassment that could potentially embarrass your country if any elder statesman from any other country, prime minister, politician, king, queen, is visiting your country, and you know you have a psychotic person who might want to harm that person. You would think you would say, hey, we're going to make sure that person is tucked away for at least the 48 hours while that particular world leader is here. And some of the authorities in England wanted to do that, and they wouldn't allow it. Sounds weird, doesn't it? I was just doing a little more research on this today, but again, I'm talking fast. That was one incident. I believe there's something fishy against President Trump's life. There was another issue. There was a Secret Service back in 2018, a Secret Service agent. President Trump and his wife, when they went over to Scotland, there was a Secret Service agent who evidently, Noel Remagen, he had a stroke. He suffered a stroke during Mr. Trump's trip to Belgium, United Kingdom, Scotland, Finland. He was a 19-year veteran. He was 42 years old when he died. He suffered a stroke. I remember when this happened, there was serious rumors online of something, some kind of chemical or something that the man was exposed to. That there was people's rumors. Now, again, I'm going to say this: it's just rumors. Don't know. We can't back it up. But this particular man, God bless his soul, Mr. Noel, this is the Secret Service agent. He was 42 years old. He was a Secret Service agent. He died over there, and there was rumors that he was exposed to some kind of substance that was meant for President Trump, and that particular substance is what caused the stroke. Now, I cannot prove that. That's just internet rumors, and internet rumors we know most of the times they're false. Okay, so I'm going to put that out there. But Don Bongino, who is a Fox News analyst and used to work with the Secret Service, and Don Bongino had said that this man was healthy and strong. I got that out of Don Bongino's mouth. He said it. So I found an interview on Fox when this particular Secret Service agent passed away. This 42-year-old man. And if you think about it, Secret Service agents, a lot of them are the healthiest guys in the world. They're very healthy. All right. They have to stay in shape. So you just think about it. Now, is it possible he had a stroke at 42 years of age? Yes, it's possible. Things happen. Obviously, you guys know, as a preacher of the gospel, you know, if God calls you home, God calls you home. All right. But I'm just putting that out there. It was a bit strange. It's a bit odd, but you know, it could be legit as we are told. That's the story. All right. But if there's something else to that the public isn't told, we will never know. We not know till like 60, 70 years later. All right, when they release certain files. All right, that's just the way United States government rolls. All right, so I'm just putting that out there because there was a lot of rumor concerning that. And that also, the incident of when this man died, it was in the month of July. There was something there. I don't even want to get into that because you guys I'll blow some people's heads open about the month of July. All right, because President Trump, what just happened to him recently was in the month of July. Now, saying that all that to say that why the third incident, which we all know concerning President Trump, we know it just happened. Everybody knows the shooter and stuff in Pennsylvania. Okay. Saying all that to say this, I don't believe that this is it for President Trump. I think there's something else going on. I think that we need to pray for him, that there is going to be another assassination attempt. And I'm going to explain the dream I had back in 2016. I had this dream, and the Lord told me to release the dream now. Okay. In the dream, there was a lady. She had the likeness of uh of a younger Hillary Clinton. She had the likeness, I'm just saying it, the likeness of a younger Hillary Clinton. She was dirty blonde. That's one thing I remember about her hair. She was dirty blonde. Okay? That's the key. Um, and then on top of that, when she came into the room, I remember the checkerboard patterns on the floor. It was like a banquet dining hall. We were at, like, that was like the place. I was just in the spirit watching, but it was like a banquet or a dining hall or a convention center. It was not an outdoor rally event. This was an indoor event. That I remember. And when she came in, she was very sneaky. She went up to the guy, and I'm gonna be honest, guys, she had the voice of Hillary Clinton. That was the voice that was on this woman, all right, in the dream. She said to this guy, and the guy who she said this to looked like this man right here. And I'm going to explain who this guy is for those of you who don't know. She went up to this gentleman who looked like this man right here, and she gave him a very sharp object. It was like a sharp, almost like a, I don't want to say it was a razor, but it was a very sharp object, something that it could slice your throat or it could stab you. And in the dream, I knew it had a poisonous substance also on the blade, meaning that even if it doesn't kill you, the wound, the chemical that's on the blade would kill you. All right. So she handed him this blade and said, remember, when he gets in the room and gets close, that's when you get him. That's when you kill him. When he gets in the room and he gets close. And the guy was like, okay. All right. And she walked away and the dream ended. The reason why I have to quickly just put this dream out here. This man, his name is Sirhan Sirhan. He was the man who had was charged with killing Mr. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, in the 1960s. Bobby Kennedy was a shoo-in to win the election. Everybody knew he was going to win. People were sympathetic that his brother John F. Kennedy was killed. And Bobby Kennedy, he already made a lot of enemies. He was an enemy. He made, and as Attorney General, he made enemies with the mob. He had enemies all over the place, and he was on his way to the White House. Everybody was going to go vote. Well, he had a. It was pretty much a shoo-in for the White House. This guy was going to win. Now, this is how it gets very interesting. The guy Sirhan Sirhan, who came in the room, I've studied this story in and out. You guys can do your own research concerning Sirhan Sirhan. Sirhan Sirhan, there's rumors that he saw there was a woman with a black and white dress, and when the woman with the black and white dress came out, he got triggered and pulled a gun and shot Mr. Kennedy. Okay, and he shot Mr. Kennedy, and it was a fatal gunshot. Sirhan Sirhan later on, upon they've interviewed him, they've asked him questions. A lot of times, he has basically said he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember. He's been quoted as saying he doesn't remember. It's been a blur. He doesn't remember. To this day, this man has been in prison all these years, and he's still saying he doesn't remember. He's not taking responsibility. You would think 40, 50 years in prison, he would say, all right, yeah, I did it. He's still saying he doesn't remember. And there is some mysterious stuff concerning Mr. Sirhan because he joined some cult group. And when he joined the cult group, next thing you know, he shows up on the scene a little bit later and assassinates Mr. Kennedy. All right. So there is a strong rumor. The rumor has been going around for quite some time that he was mind controlled. He was hypnotized. The woman in the black and white dress was the trigger. Remember, in my dream, I saw the floor was black and white. It was black and white tiles on the floor in my dream. So I believe that's the Holy Spirit giving me the clue, like, okay, this is the plan of the wicked. This is the plan of certain people on this planet. They're going to try to send in someone who's hypnotized, someone who's under mind control to do something to Mr. Trump. That's the plan. That's the game. So I'm just telling you guys to pray, to intercede, to pray. This gets very deep, what I'm telling you. On top of that, with that, you're going to pray for a hedge of protection over him. You're going to pray for his family. You're going to pray for President Trump's family, a hedge of protection. And you're also going to pray for somebody else. Okay? You're also going to pray for former President Obama. Let me explain why. I got this revelation back in 2016. I might release the radio interview I have to dig up the radio interview because I prophetically was speaking about this. The Holy Spirit told me back in 2016 that we have to pray for President Obama and President Trump. And the Lord had me praying for these two men for about two years straight. There is a plan, and I'm speaking of a plan hatched out of a very dark place. This is I'm speaking something prophetically. There are certain people that knows the way to get civil war and civil unrest in the United States. You have to do something major. All right. Well, doing something major, i.e., the assassination of a major beloved political figure, that can do it. That can trigger it. Okay. And that's why I'm telling you, those two men, you want to pray for them that they live out their natural lives. Okay, because you don't want anything of that nature happening to either one of them, because there are certain powers that will stir the pot to create civil unrest and civil war. So I'm telling you, not only are you to pray for President Trump for his safety, but also pray for the safety of Mr. President Barack Obama. We don't want any kind of public kind of killings or executions or any harm to come to these men. We want to pray for them and intercede for them, because there are certain people who are banking on a way to create civil war, civil unrest in the United States, and also by using that as a context for a way to bring in martial law in the United States. And once you bring in martial law, if you bring in martial law under the right pretenses, you can then suspend the Constitution of the United States. And that's a whole different ballgame that none of my fellow Americans want to go down that road. Because if the Constitution of the United States gets suspended and under the right pretense, and they can let you swallow it, and you basically won't have an election for 5 years, meaning whoever's in office at that time, they can remain in office for up to 5 years. All right. So this is how serious these things get. So these are stuff, I've studied some of these things concerning martial law, the different ways it could happen, etc. You do your own research. I'm just breaking it down real quick. My whole thing to tell you is to please pray for President Trump. Continue to pray for former President Trump, whether you like him or not. Just pray for him that we don't have any incident that can create civil war or civil unrest in the United States. And also pray for President Obama, that we don't, someone like that we don't have civil war, civil unrest. We don't want any kind of public kind of executions or none of that stuff to happen to either one of those men. We want a peaceful transition of power. We don't want any untimely deaths, especially concerning those two men. All right. So please pray about what I'm telling you. That was I told you, explain the dream that I had. I'm telling you the dream. The Lord had told me to release that dream, and just pray about this. Okay. I really appreciate you guys supporting this channel. I really do. And I'm going to try to just get off of here. This was just a quick Zoom, just so you guys can just have some information. And I'm going to try to stop this screen share right now and get off. And please, you can light up the comments. Please, in the comment section, don't be rude. Don't say anything whether you like this one or that one. Look, I'm talking about just praying for our leaders. The Bible says we're to pray for our leaders. That's what the Bible says. All right. So pray for them. All right, guys. Brother Keith, Pastor Keith is out.